mag even Karsten agus fáiltíh gan a program meierig is an tre Meet the Sponsors. Hello everybody and welcome to our last program in the Meet the Sponsors virtual series. As we all know, the Trad Awards are not happening in person this year, but do not despair, a weekend of virtual celebrations is on the cards. And we here at Hands Up for Trad have made the most of this virtual life that we're all living, and we have been taking part in a series of interviews featuring some of the sponsors that every year very generously support the MG ALBA Scots Trad Music Awards. Now, this is the last episode in this series, and I'm delighted once more to welcome three guests to be with us. So representing Solmarostig today, we have Dr. Decker Forrest, Programme Leader for the BA Ons Gaelic and Music course, and also Christine Primrose, MBE, Head of Gaelic Song. And also with us today, we have Anna Wendy Stevenson, who is a musician and also the Programme Leader for the BA Applied Music and also the MA Music and Environment course through the University of Highlands and Islands. Fáilte na bhuaile, good afternoon and welcome everybody. Dus ha uásach neannach with Breen Rave an Björla ach sinna dhémas mé Gianniv in Jew. It is very, very odd, particularly speaking to Decker and Christine in English. I don't think I've ever spoken to Christine in English before, but we will we'll make our most of it. I think my Gaelic these days is better than my English, but we'll see what we can do. Decker, if I can come to you first, can you tell us a wee bit about Solmarostig for those out there who don't actually know anything about the college?
Well, Solmarostig, for those of you that don't know, we are the Centre for Gaelic Language and Culture. And the college has been running for about 40 years now. In fact, I think it's next year we're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary, as well as courses in Gaelic language. We have a number of different programs that we run focused on education. And so we have a lot of people who study to become primary school teachers. We have courses in media and television, and also we have a very successful short course program that offers all sorts of different subjects. But music has been probably the main focus of them since the beginning. And of course, we have our full-time music program as well. And that's been running for about 13 years. So we have lots of different subjects. Gaelic is kind of the common denominator in everything that we do, although we do offer a lot of courses, particularly in the summer, for people who are wanting to learn Gaelic. Also our online introduction to Gaelic course as well, to kind of get you up to the point where you could potentially come to the college and study full time. And that's kind of it in a nutshell, Joy.
Yeah, well, I'm very proud graduation of Solmore I am, and I just loved being at Solmore for 4 years. It was just wonderful. Quite a different year though this year, particularly Deca for you, I guess, because you're involved in a very practical performing course with the traditional degree. How did you adapt to, I guess, turning aspects of that online or continuing with certain parts of it through the college itself?
Well, it certainly has been interesting and very different, as you say. I suppose that at Solmore, we've been in a very fortunate position because of where we are. We've been able to come together still and practice in well-ventilated rooms and taking, precautions and so on. So that's been nice. But we've also been utilizing a lot of online learning, probably more than we ever have done before. And although it's a shame that we haven't been able to do more face-to-face. And of course, there are a lot of very unfortunate, problems that have come in because of the pandemic, particularly for musicians. It has opened up a lot of opportunities for us. So, for example, we're able to use more people because they're available to teach on the course. We have Ewan Henderson, who's teaching every week, and he's able to do that from Glasgow. And also, we've seen a lot of musicians, very accomplished, very well-known musicians, the likes of Kim Carney and Ailish Sutherland, for example. We had Josie Duncan last year. So there are musicians that have kind of taken the opportunity to learn Gaelic or to develop Gaelic, those that speak it already. They're seeing that this is the time when things are a little bit slower with performance, where they can actually develop their skills and prepare them for a post-pandemic, I suppose, where these kind of skills are going to matter even more. So it's been a very interesting last few months, and but I'm pleased to say that it hasn't been all negative, and I think that we're going to come out of it kind of better prepared for a very interesting and different future in traditional music, where things like the media and being able to kind of engage with audiences in a virtual way is just going to be part of our reality from now on.
Definitely. And Christine, maybe if I can ask you about that, because over the years, many a student has enjoyed their Gaelic singing lessons, both students on the traditional music degree course, but also those learning Gaelic. And for us, it was an amazing time to come together in a group situation and learn and sing beautiful songs. Obviously, this last year, a very different situation. How have you adapted to teaching students who I'm sure are still as desperate to learn Gaelic songs from you as they can, but maybe can't be sitting around a table as would normally?
Yes, well, it's worked out pretty well, I think. I follow the rules and regulations, and I go into the classroom and we have a screen and masks, although it's not very easy to sing with a mask, so I tend to go behind the screen when I'm doing that. But when I'm having the one-to-one, it's always on Zoom. So that's worked out better than I would ever have thought, actually, because I was teaching as well short courses on Zoom. And initially I thought, oh, this will never work. But then you find out through just experience how to make it work and where everybody gets something out of it, So really, it's quite astonishing how you do adapt to the situation you're in. And I don't think anybody has really lost out as such. The only thing that's missing is that we're only having 6 at a time in a class. So I had to split the class up, and they don't get the chance to perform as the big group we have of 11, So that's the only downside, I think. But apart from that, it's just as usual, business as usual.
Yeah, and actually early on, particularly the Easter courses, the summer courses, which are always so popular at Solmore, they very quickly turned online. And I know through my friends, from speaking to people, the number of folks that said to me, oh, I can do a Gaelic song course with Christine Primrose, because normally I might not get away from work for a week at a time, but actually they were able to do that from home, and for them it was only a bonus. Did you see maybe a slightly different demographic attending your courses as a result of this, Christine?
Yes, because we were only taking, I think it was 5 maximum at a time, because realistically that's as many as you would want, because more than that is just counterproductive, and we decided that we would just take the first 5 that would come. So they'd have to get online pretty quick, I suppose. But no, it's great. I think you're seeing people. I mean, first of all, they're missing out on the social aspect of it all. That's the sad thing. But they're not spending so much money. It doesn't cost so much money for them, to enroll on the course for obvious reasons. It was interesting. There was people over from Shanghai and America. Of course, we're always getting those, and so it was. I enjoyed it, actually, although I was resisting it at the beginning. I just said, I'm not going to be teaching. I can't imagine what that's going to be like, because it's a very organic thing when I'm teaching. I see how they're progressing every hour, I suppose. But no, it seemed to work, and I had a really nice bunch of people, so that was nice.
Oh. Lovely. And Decca, you had mentioned the traditional music course. Now, we've been asking everybody to pick a video that has inspired them through lockdown, that kind of kept them going. And you've chosen a track from your own students there at Solmore. Can you tell us a wee bit more about it?
Well, sure. We actually released an album just as lockdown kicked in. And what we've done over the years is, rather than trying to crank out a CD every year, we just kind of keep a steady stream of recording projects going, and then every few years, then we'll kind of pick the best tracks. And that one was that came about when Grigor Laurie was doing a bit of teaching here, and I think that it was one of these tracks, where it just developed very quickly, and the students themselves really, really enjoyed singing it. And so, particularly when we couldn't be together as we used to be, it was just one of those tracks that when I listened back to it, I thought, this is really kind of the best of what things were like before the pandemic kicked in. And also it highlights, that just how important Gaelic song is to Solmar Ostig in the course, and the sort of intense learning that the students have with Gaelic song with Christine as well. And you'll hear a few of the different students, but the person who's kind of leading the song is Saffron Hanvich, who anyone who's familiar with the Royal National Mod will recognize. But yeah, it's just a lovely track, lovely voices, and I think kind of sums up what we try and do here at Solmore.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So let's hear the track then. It's called Talach Goil Gurum, performed by some of the students at Solmar Ostig.
Na kolvangat na livo Sjachan medido na livo hi Havan coelho na livo Ang malanusa
Beautiful singing there from some of the Solmar Ostig students. And I know over the years there has been quite a strong relationship between Solmar Ostig and Hansa for Trad, particularly through supporting the different, over the years, different categories in the Trad Awards. Now this year, again, you are very generously supporting one of the awards, the Trad Music and the Media. Decca, why is it so important that Solmar Ostig get involved in this way?
Well, I suppose that we just feel that the media plays a critical role in the revitalization of Gaelic, and it's therefore been a major feature of the college's activities at educational, training, and professional levels for over 25 years anyway. The college houses a state-of-the-art television studio, and it's home to Chris Young Films, who produce Bannon each year, and on the other hand, we have music featuring so prominently in everything that we do. It's been at the heart of the college and part of the Gaelic revitalization since the very beginning. And so I suppose that because music and the media are mutually supportive and often interdependent, that the college feels strongly that the development in this area should be recognized and celebrated. And I think in addition to that, thinking about the situation that we're in with the pandemic and, what's to come, I think that we recognize as well that musicians in particular are going to have to look more and more at the media and the way in which their music is put across and meets the expectations of their audiences, and that means more collaboration and sort of broader thinking about the ways in which they put their music out there.
Definitely. And Christine, I know in the past you have won the award for Gaelic Singer of the Year. And I think I'm right in saying you were also inducted into the Trad Awards Hall of Fame.
I have been. Yes to both. Haven't I, the lucky one?
What did that mean to you? Obviously, when you learned that you had been given this award.
Oh, I was so chuffed. I mean, I think it's fabulous, that your peers or whoever recognized, what you do. And I think it's great. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, good. And this year our celebrations are virtual, but the Hall of Fame is getting a programme to itself on Friday night that will be broadcast on BBC ALBA, and then the Trad Awards are happening on Saturday. And I think it's lovely just to be able to talk a wee bit more about folk who have done so much over the years for Gaelic music and for singing. And I mean, if you're talking about Gaelic singers and those who have helped singers over the year, I don't think you can think of many that are more rewarding than Christine. She's helped so many singers. And Declan, I'm sure you're seeing that people are choosing to come to the college because they get to have lessons with Christine.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of great things about Solmore, but Christine is definitely, if you had to pick one individual, no disrespect to anyone else that works here, but Christine has been such a huge part of Gaelic revitalization for such a long time. I mean, she really is an institution in and of herself. I'm old. See it. I know. I was kind of catching myself out when I was saying that, but yeah, we've seen a lot of students over the years that say, they're already Gaelic singers, and they take part in the Maud every year, for example, and they just realize they need that last kind of push, that last intensive kind of period where they're focusing on their Gaelic and they're getting the absolute top instruction from someone like Christine, Christine in particular, and then they go on to do well and kind of achieve their goals in Gaelic songs. So yeah, can't speak highly enough of Christine. It's not just because she's there staring at me or in the office next door.
Thank you. But can I just say one thing about Gaelic song and how it helps? It's a huge help for these students about how to put language into context when they're learning the songs. And over the years, I've discovered that they've come to me and they say how much it has helped with the pronunciation of words, because we have to follow the internal rhyme within the verse and all that, and things that they had never thought of before about the language. And so that's very important with Gaelic song too. And so I would just like to sort of mention that.
No, I think that's really important, and even the rhythm of the language comes through the songs. And I also think Christine is the most patient woman in the world, because she used to live practically on campus, and she never once complained about the noise coming from the students. So she should be in the Hall of Fame for that patience alone.
I went very close. I pride myself in actually not losing it, and I really do, because it was quite a strain sometimes, especially on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, when you used to all go out and come back at 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And the thing about the students, I used to sort of think, I loved the students because I've been with them for so long, but they used to communicate by screeching. That's how they communicate. They would just be screaming and carousing and God, just pipe down, please.
That was us trying to talk over the strong winds of Skye.
Yes, I know. But oh, it was lovely. It was great when I stayed up there. Great memories I have of everybody went through so more. I saw it evolving. I was there from the very beginning, and I was on that journey. As this talk now about the journey, I was on that journey, and it's astonishing how it has got to where it is now.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, we're going to show another video now featuring students and tutors that have come through the college over the years. So this is Dive, and led by Ellen MacDonald, one of your previous singing students. So hope everybody enjoys it.
Maksavatins mitus, kes mormons makelkada, on a hole min brunse, inte du ich launarai, ukko la naljev, ukko la koro shainoro naljev, on a hole min brunse, inte du ich launarai, granje malich, kacharius, flanke pillus, say jarlich, ukko la naljev, ukko Valja хороша и ньороналja. Hukko valja hukkoronalja, hukko valja хороша и ньороналja. Kranje malika haril, slanken pillus say arlig, sanne nirul kontrolje, ganze doje smornare. Hukko valja hukko Mari parokne huisle kiiti suosle jonater Ukko lailja ronalja Ukko lailja horo shaino ronalja
Beautiful music there from Dive. And if anybody is interested in finding out more about Solmore, you can visit their website, www.smo.uhi.ac.uk. But they're also all over social media and even have their own Solmore television. So no excuse not to do a wee bit more digging. Now, obviously, Solmore is an institute in itself, but it's also part of the University of the Highlands and Islands. And I'm really pleased to have Anna Wendy Stevenson here to talk a wee bit more about UHI and also the award that they are sponsoring this year. So Anna Wendy, can you tell us a wee bit more though first about UHI itself?
So UHI is the University of the Highlands and Islands, and it's made up of 13 colleges across the region, and these colleges are based in local communities, and the remit of the Highlands and Islands, University of the Highlands and Islands, is to support these local communities, and that is done by offering education from further education right through to postgraduate, undergraduate, postgraduate, PhDs, and in so doing, playing a part in the revitalization of the region and enabling people to be able to stay in their local communities and study at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And that is so important. I think many people would be, probably like myself, coming from a more rural area. If you wanted to do further study, you had to leave. And that worked for some of us who wanted to maybe see the bright lights of the city or go to Skye. But actually being able to stay in your own community and learn a wee bit more in your chosen field is particularly important now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, I'm the program leader for the BA in Applied Music. I'm a music lecturer, also on the MA Music and the Environment, which is a natural progression from the BA in Applied Music. And these degrees are multi-genre degrees. So we welcome students from traditional music backgrounds. And we also have composers and singer-songwriters, classical musicians as well, rock, pop. And it's a very, very creative and practical set of degrees, those 2 degrees. And I guess that we have students enrolled across actually the UK. And right now, because of COVID, we've actually got some of our students located and studying from Germany and from Spain and in Iceland. And so, yeah, our model of program delivery embodies very much the remit and vision of the University of the Highlands and Islands. And with regard to music, our offering, this wide offering, enables us to be able to celebrate all the different musical styles, even within traditional music. So for instance, the Shetland traditions, which contrast and complement so well the Gaelic music tradition, or the East Coast traditions, or indeed the border traditions. So that kind of gives you a bit of a background to some of the courses that we offer, but also to how that fits in with the vision for the University of the Highlands and Islands with regard to music.
Yeah, and normally the traditional music course in particular would be based in Uist, but I guess this year we're seeing across the board the silver lining of the COVID pandemic, as you say, is you're able to open that up to students abroad who normally wouldn't have the chance or possibly even the financial means to make that move to Scotland. And that must be wonderful to be able to pull in from such a diverse group of students.
Well, it's really interesting. Yes, I feel like I should give you maybe a little bit of a kind of an explanation and a kind of background. So I've mentioned that the university offers education from further education right through to postgraduate. Now, in Uist, where I am, I'm located right now in North Uist in Ballashare, very small island, and next stop is America, and. I moved out here in 2006 to teach an HNC in traditional music, and it really developed, grew arms and legs, and we've had many, many musicians come over to Uist to study at Lewes Castle College on the Benbecula Music Campus. And over the years after we started developing and delivering the BA in Applied Music in 2012, this was a natural progression for many of those students. And the beauty of our degree, as you mentioned, the flexibility, we've kind of been being flexible. You know, we're all about flexibility, adaptability, enabling students to be able to, for instance, select their own tutor. So from anywhere. So, you know, we've had students studying with the bass player from the Beach Boys, Carol Kay, in Los Angeles. You know, we've been doing that kind of thing since 2012. So some of the kind of the aspects, we've been delivering blended learning actually since then. So there's not been a huge learning curve this year. And if anything, we've been very much called upon to help others understand how to navigate what is a new world for many. But returning to, and it's linked in, is that yes, we've had, and we still do have many students enrolling through Lewes Castle College and enjoying as part of our residential programs, because we have residencies 4 times a year for applied music. They enjoy coming to the Hebrides and exploring and doing intensive kind of festival weeks at a time and taking in a culture that maybe, for instance, if you had a Shetland fiddler might not have been to the Outer Hebrides before, in our programs kind of enable that. So, and enable that flexibility enables more enrollment and more engagement, and putting the Uist on the map for education as well, you know, through Lewes Castle College, but also it enables Shetland College to be able to offer music in their community. So it's quite an interesting and dynamic model. It's very dynamic, yeah.
It does sound just wonderful. And I think you are one of the newer sponsors for the Trad Awards. UHI has been involved for the last couple of years, but you're sponsoring the Musician of the Year award, which is one of the hard hitters in the Trad calendar, definitely.
Oh yeah, so we're delighted. This is the second year that we've sponsored this award, and it has been a very, very challenging year for musicians. And we really, what we've been doing at the university as much as we can to support and keep musicians feeling valued. And for instance, we've got these Facebook Live gigs every week on social media where we bring graduates and give them a performance evening, which have been really very successful. So we're very committed to supporting the professional musician and understanding the huge value that they bring to the musical community, but to the wider communities in which they participate and in which they inspire. So also it's wonderful when we're offering practical music degrees that are, say it in the title, applied music or music in the environment. They're very, very practical and a lot of performance associated with it. It's good for us to acknowledge this by offering this award, and also we are very proud to see over the years so many of our graduates represented through the MG ALBA Scots Trad Music Awards. So yeah, it's very fitting. And also because within that award, there are so many genres, and the university spans, again, subgenres, the styles, and the university spans the region, and it's fitting that we support that.
Definitely. And as I said earlier, I have been asking people to choose a track that's been inspiring them in lockdown. And like Declan and Christine, you have gone to one of your previous students for this.
Yes, in fact, when you're asked to select something, well, for me, it's like going into a restaurant and seeing lots of things on a menu that you can't pick. And, anyway, I went to, I was in conversation with one of our current students. And I said, I can't pick between. Anyway, so I want to give a big shout out to one of our current students, Sheena Peterana, who's from Uist and a wonderful piper and flute player and student. All of our students I treasure very much. But thank you for Sheena for highlighting and reminding me of this track, which is The Island Where I Live. And it is a commission that James Mackenzie wrote this music to go along with the Solace film footage from Margaret Faye Shaw from the Canna archive. And Margaret Faye Shaw has made such a huge impact and contribution to Gaelic music and folklore traditions, and she was somebody that came from somewhere else and was just gave everything she could, and she has left an incredible legacy at Canna House, and she's made a huge contribution in her collecting, and James has done a very beautiful composition here. And he was in situ to be inspired at Canna House. But also, James was one of my first students when I moved out to Uist. He's from Lewis, fantastic piper and flute player, is taught by the wonderful Ian MacDonald, who teaches at the college, and is also artistic director of Keolis. And James is now one of our tutors for the BA Applied Music. So it's beautiful to have this kind of support and cycle here, you know, and our current student, Sheena, is learning from James and is inspired to share that with me. So that's why I've chosen this track.
Well, I just love this video. I think it's the perfect marriage between old and new tradition. And I'm going to say no more, just let everybody else watch it. And I'm sure they'll enjoy it just as much.
The island where I live is in the Hebrides. It's small in comparison with its neighbors, with their dark towering mountains. When you're sailing towards it, you'll see how very green it is. There are high cliffs to the north and south, but the rich grass grows to the very edges of them. There is nothing of the desolate brown moorland that you see in this part of the world.
A beautiful video there featuring archive footage and music by James Mackenzie. I could watch that all day. It was just glorious. And I think it pulls in everything that we are celebrating here at the Trads. It is people, it's heritage, it's music, old and new, and it's all wonderful. Thank you very much, Anna Wendy, and also to Christine Decker for coming and speaking to us today. This is the last programme in our series of Meet the Sponsors. So Kiat Mila Tangan Hula Dunya Ha or Taik Hurricane Harishir Nabikan Yakin in Nagalov. Thank you so much to everybody who's been helping out. I have to give a huge thank you also to Simon, who very patiently does all the back-end tech side of it, which means I don't have to. It is wonderful, and it means I can concentrate on the chatting. Now, obviously, no Trads in person this year, but keep an eye on BBC ALBA this Friday night at 9 p.m. as we have a special programme this year on the Hall of Fame, talking to all the inductees of this year's Hall of Fame. And also there will be some music, there will be some archive footage, a lovely programme. So that is 9 p.m. on Friday. Also, through the Hands Up for Trad Facebook and YouTube pages, we have a whole programme of events running from 1 p.m. on Saturday until 9 p.m. These will be very capably directed by Finlay Napier. So if you'd like to hear some music and some chat, do come along to the Hands Up for Trad Facebook page and YouTube sites. Then pop over to BBC ALBA again at 9 p.m, where you will see the Hands Up for Trad Awards, the MG ALBA Scots Music Hands Up for Trad Awards in their virtual form this year. So all the awardees will be announced, and also it is going to be a great couple of hours of footage. So do keep an eye on that. And if you're feeling particularly alive and ready for your post-Trad Awards boogie, head over to the Trad Awards Facebook page where Innistrachan from Nightworks will be doing a virtual party. So lots to be enjoyed this weekend. We can't do it in person, but that's no excuse not to get your sparkles on and enjoy it at home. So thank you again to everybody that has been involved in these series. It has been lovely just to see people and to get to chat to the sponsors in a bit more detail, because again, every year they do put their money where their mouths are and help to support our traditional music, which is very much appreciated. So for me and all of the very, very hard-working Hands Up for Trad staff, Keith Miletang, thank you all very much. And we will virtually see you on Friday and Saturday for our Christmas party.